Welcome everyone, I'm the Depressed Viewer, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 19. This will be the last match for the season before the point race is done. This match was done at 3 a.m. because I happen to be awake, and I'm also recording this around 4 a.m. because I'm still somewhat awake. In any case, one good news is I get to go up against a box that's a little bit more of the standard meta where you're generally a rush. This does have some tanks. It has a couple of tanks, some healers, but it has a lot more ways of helping set up for engagements and things like that. Also, we get some faces we don't usually see as often, such as Captain Commando and Mack. But yeah, most of this is just a lot of ways to get act against, a lot of ways to get additional self-reses. And yeah, so it's still probably a little bit of a mixed box because it does have tanks and stuff like that, but these are a lot more threatening units than the previous box. In any case, ban Anya as usual. Also, as far as my own box, not much has really changed. I've been kind of actually, there's been a big change, which I'll talk about after this this match. But I did do some boosting of characters with inscriptions because a lot of these characters are characters I generally don't use, so their inscriptions are not maxed. If they have inscription talents, they do have those at least unlocked, but as far as getting like the max 10 ranks done for all the parts, some of the characters are not fully upgraded, such as Akaya, Patricia, Lena, I believe, are not maxed out. Anyway, go ahead and ban Anya. They ban my Anya. And they go ahead and grab S19. So yeah, generally the idea here, despite that the fact that my opponent does have healers and tanks, prioritize a character that can help set up. S19, of course, has act against, can give additional mobility, can give attack buffs, can also potentially heal in a pinch, but though not very much. So yeah, and on my side, I'll go ahead and ban. I went and got rid of the Awakened one, got rid of Icemelda. I still think that was probably the best call. Obviously, we do not want to deal with Spellbound because that will just completely shut me down as far as engagement's concerned. And I'm playing as player 2, so I'm already at a disadvantage as far as initiative. Icemelda, with a combination of S19, would be just way too difficult for me to actually stop from doing all the usual shenanigans. So yeah, I pretty much had no choice but to go ahead and get rid of those two immediately. And I go ahead and get my setup character, which is going to be Akaya. I do have a few things to say about Akaya, but we'll deal with that as those situations arise. They go ahead and get rid of my Bright Summoner, get rid of my S19. And they grab Ymir, which has definitely been... I think this is the second time my opponent has second picked a Ymir, so we'll see how that goes. I go ahead and get rid of Bright Summoner, get rid of... Salika. Obviously, we don't want to give more self-reses to Ymir, so definitely wanted to shut that down. The only thing I was a little concerned about was the Liana, because as always, I don't know what class their Bright Summoner is. It could actually be a healer, for all I know. So leaving them with an actual healer with another act again is potentially dangerous. I go ahead and go straight for, was it Virelia, I believe is her name. My opponent goes ahead and gets rid of my Auden Kelma, which was a bit unfortunate. They also get rid of my Awakened one, which is less of an issue. They go ahead and grab Mack the Knife, and I believe the other character is like Genju or something like that. This guy has a lot. He has act again. Well, I don't know if he has. Yeah, he has act again potential. He does a lot of fixed damage. He can get a huge amount of mobility. So yeah, he can be kind of dangerous. He's more of an assassin, so he doesn't really do AoEs really, so there's that at least. I go ahead and get rid of Tiana, go ahead and get rid of Isolde. Isolde can potentially do some healing as well as some damage reduction. Obviously, we don't want her to start stacking and getting out of control, and Tiana, of course, can really just be annoying, giving stat increases and getting self-reses. I go ahead and grab Icemelda on my end. I was actually considering grabbing Namiya, but I smell what I felt like I can potentially do some more shenanigans with. My opponent gets rid of my Namiya, gets rid of my Patricia, and they go ahead and grab Captain Commando. At this point, I was like, all right, I don't want to deal with Andriel and any of that act again nonsense. I also did not want to deal with Tyrantel because in his nonsense. So I was completely fine with my opponent having Lightbringer and Leona. At this point, the danger is not necessarily the act agains at this point. So I was kind of okay with my opponent having a healer at this junction. I got a Polyol. So with my Covenant setup, I don't know if Polyol was the best option, but Polyol can potentially stun characters that are not immune, that can have some potential here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if that was the best pick, but I don't know if any of the other options would have been much better, because I'm not going to really be able to follow up with Sword and Light Shadow, or at least not reliably, or at least that's what I thought. In hindsight, I think it probably would have been somewhat okay. So yeah, they go ahead and get rid of my Sword and Light Shadow, get rid of my Lina, and they grab Leona. So this leaves me with Mariandel or Lucretia. Lucretia could be interesting because obviously with her inscription, she can use the Poppet to swap places with other characters to help set up. But overall, we have characters that can self-res, characters that are immune to debuffs, and all sorts of other shenanigans. And so I was like, I'm not sure if Lucretia would actually be a good pick, so I went ahead and went with Mariandel, who I don't think is maxed out on inscriptions either, but she does have her inscription talent. Alright, so let's go ahead and get set up. Okay, their Leona is standard kits with Act Again, 3C, and Heal with Shrine Maidens. Captain and Baby. Alright, we'll get back to you. Ymir, this one actually brought Iron Fist, and I don't know why. Does have Redeemers, no surprises there. And we got, of course, the other exclusives, which I think is 3C and... Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just trying to think here. Command spells buffs, blah, blah, blah. Does this guy not have 3C? Or is this the 3C? I have no idea. Well, in any case, these abilities with Iron Fist. We'll get back to Mack. Eshian. Yeah, all of our exclusives with Star Prism. That's nothing surprising there. Alright, let's talk about Mack and Genzi first. As you can see, he has a book for his talent here. So, attack and crit have increased by 15%. I don't know if that's max stars or not. Unit range +1. Starts in walk mode. Damage increases by 15%. Ignores guard when entering battle. So, literally, he can just bypass guard. After taking action for each 1 block of mobility consumed, mobility increases by 1 on the next turn, up to +5, cannot be dispelled. If all mobility is consumed this turn, enter sprint mode. When initiating battle and failing to eliminate the target, can attack again but cannot move, and then otherwise enters walk mode. Walk mode and sprint mode can exist at the same time. Also can't be dispelled, all that nonsense. So yeah, what you do with him is you move up. Gets his maximum mobility buff, probably gets freaking breeze buff, mobility, and then just goes to town. Just runs up and just hits you. He does have Slice and Dice, which does fixed damage. Yeah, he'll heal himself based off the fixed damage. And then after actively dealing, after dealing damage, he does do fixed damage once. His 3C, when in sprint mode, he can pass through defensive. He can get additional mobility passing through defensive terrain. Gets increased crits. Does a lot of single target damage. If in walk mode, attacks before the enemy, and then applies smoke, which makes it so you can't really be targeted. But of course, it dissipates if you get hit with an AOE. And well, actually, no, sorry, what it does. Let's see. After battle, applies smoke. Dissipates after getting hit with an AoE. 30% chance to lose their target and become unable to attack when entering battle. Okay, so it's kind of not a guarantee. And then when successfully killing an enemy, it refreshes. And then he has Shadow Raid. He's also got Firebrand Snipers, which of course gives him even more fixed damage. So yeah, he just runs up and hits you. And then he kind of throws out a bunch of smoke and be annoying. As for Captain Commando here, he's got Aegis guards, by the way, which is just they take reduced range damage, and then of course they get additional. They treat non-defensive terrain as just defensive terrain for the most part. All right, or at least the equivalent of forest. All right. Anyway, oh, also he does get an attack buff. It also gets an attack buff as well when in non-defensive. Sorry for cutting out there. I had to cough for a bit. All right. Trooper Elites. AoE skill damage increases by 20%. Increases to 200% when battling enemies with no soldiers. After actively attacking, they get 1 stack of Passion of Battle. Gives increased mobility, increases attack and defense, can stack up to 3 times. After taking action, if the number of Passion of Battle stacks has reached the limit, any buffs on the caster will not lose their turn and can act again once. Alright. Let's see. Captain Cannon, which teleports him forward, and then he does a 3-line AoE. If he hits at least 2 enemies, he gets a stack of Passion. He does have access to unflinching, so he can self-res, and then his 3C is essentially, after taking action, if all mobility was used, he gets a stack of Passion. So the idea is you move as far as you can, do Captain Cannon, and that will get you enough stacks to act again immediately. Yeah, it's really, really rough. Also, if you activate it, let's see, you attack everyone within 3 blocks, and you apply Electric Shock. And what this does is, before using skills, you take fixed damage equal to 0.5 times the caster's attack. This damage multiplier increases by 0.5 for each additional turn on the skill's cooldown. So the bigger the cooldown of your ability, the bigger the fixed damage. Yeah, this thing is rough. If your entire party gets hit with this, you just kind of slowly die from electrocution. So yeah, got that going for us. Anyway, Sovereign of the Ice Abyss, standard kit with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Virilia, I did replace Strengthen with Power of Reinvention, which just gives her a self-res against physical damage. Also, when she's forced into battle, she's not affected by melee damage reduction, so she counterattacks a little bit better. Besides that, it's just her 3C and Heaven Sanction as her primary attacks. Polyol, I brought Aegis guards, which we already talked about, and then pretty much all of her AoEs with her self-res. We got Mariandel here. We got her 3C, Aqua Purification, and then Windblade with Fairy Spirit Prophets. And then we got Akaya here with Spider Demon Elves, which are honestly not the best option. The main reason why I do Spider Demon Elf is because it has 5 mobility, which doesn't really matter in this case, but it mainly has 2 range. It's the real thing. She does actually have a lot of ranged units for her troop choice. That being said, her 3C doesn't actually require can actually make her melee troops attack with her. So if you're just relying on purely her skills, you don't actually need to rely as heavily with this. Also, Spirit Demon Elf is Demon, which is not going to do very well against a Holy class. Anyway, besides that, of course, our standard kit, we got Wild Power, 3C, and Blood of the Sheikah, and we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. So, yeah, so my opponent already moved forward. So yeah, we're already stacking. So I do have the exclusive on Mariandel, so there's a chance that she gets multiple stacks, an additional stack whenever anyone does any sort of activatable skill. So with that, we've already gotten 2 stacks. She caps out at 5, but really the magic number is 4 if you want to maximize her range and span. But first, this is his range, by the way. He did proc his Breeze. So his mobility is 8, and of course he can go through defensive terrain for free. So he effectively has 10 movement, and he can already pretty much reach everyone all the way over here. He can bypass guard, but I don't really care too much about that for the most part. Actually, he's not in walk mode, so it doesn't bypass guard right now, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, at this point, you can already see what my opponent's going to do. They're going to do an act again on Mack and have him just run up and kill somebody. I do have characters with self-reses, but he does so much fixed damage, it's not going to matter. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get set up with the Akka. Buffs everyone. Oh, another Mana Rhythm, so already up to 3 stacks. Act again, which is going to also proc Sacred Chant and Radiant Benediction, so she's going to get buffed up here. So yeah, So just to kind of give a gist of things, Polyol will come one tile short of reaching Mack here. I believe I could still follow up with possibly... actually, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, he's even immune to debuffs. So yeah, there's no way for me to actually stun him. The only character that can actually reach Mack and do any reasonable amount of damage is Icemelda. And I have to yank my own Akaya towards me, take advantage of the Spirit Boots to get to here, and then I can move 3 spaces to get to here and attack Mack. Because if I don't, Mack is just going to come in and kill me anyway. So at this point I was like, alright, might as well just trade. Get Chain Whip active. And then just run up here. And I was able to tank it. I was at full HP, so obviously I had last rites and all that good stuff. So yeah, got the kill, got a few stacks of Frost, but that's not going to matter because Icemelda is not going to live for very much longer. So at this point I go ahead and just fall back. And as you can see, yep, already got the 3 stacks of Passion of Battle, so he gets the act again. Thankfully, he doesn't actually have the best mobility here, and my units here are actually blocking things, which is kind of helpful. So at the very least, he's going to probably just start murdering my own guys. Like this. Okay, kills the Hound, which actually gives a buff to Akaya and heals her a little bit. And yeah, so the good news is Mack is pretty much spent for now, which is good. But we definitely still don't want him around. So I'm going to go ahead and just move up with Mariandel and throw out an Aqua Purification, which will do healing and damage. It also spins as they charges. It gets Akaya almost to full. Obviously, Sovereign Ice Abyss is good as dead at this point. Alright. Luckily I can attack in melee, but still doesn't make a difference. Oh, also one thing to note is for whenever you have that Frost thing and you attack Icemelda, you actually have 20% reduced stats besides HP. So that's probably why it hurts so much. In any case, we get act again on Captain. I believe the act again can't trigger again, and all he has is just his basic attack. But he can very easily just move away and just kind of wait and get his cooldowns refreshed. I definitely did not want that to happen, so at this point I was like, I need to kill this guy. Polyol could potentially hit both targets, but S19 does have a butterfly, so there's no chance of doing stun on her. And there's also a good chance I was not going to be able to get killed with Polyol anyway. She just doesn't do... I don't have a lot of physical damage anymore, thanks to the changes to my Covenant. So that just leaves Virelia to kind of handle this. Get some more stacks set up here. Both of them have self-reses. So I'm going to double tap them. Proc both their self-reses. And kill them with fixed damage. Alright, and again I'm back up to 3 stacks with Mariandel. So one thing to note, I did forget to mention this because you don't see it in the replay, but when I killed Mack the Knife earlier, my opponent spent literally over 2 minutes sitting there, probably thinking of what to do. So this is kind of the fruition of all that strategizing. And you may think we have the advantage, but Ymir still exists, and Ymir is a problem. So it goes ahead and procs this, gets the act again. And can already reach over here. Obviously negate my self-res. Yeah, not a chance. Gets a clock proc. Does get me gets me some stacks of for Mariandel, which is kind of nice. And pretty much Ymir is back up to full life. He still has a self-res with the Redeemers, and all I have left is Polyol. There's not really much I can do here besides just get in range and start going to town. So that's what I'm going to do here. Yeah. Not much that can be be done here. So my opponent goes ahead and rolls around here to go ahead and keep swinging. Managed to survive that at least. Unfortunately, I lost my passive skills there. Does that actually disable passives? Okay, it converted it does random debuffs. Got it. I mean, there's also an item that does do passive negation, but I don't know if that was what procced. I can find out. Nope, it was the armor disable. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately I get my self-res negated through other means that I didn't expect. And of course this gets him unchained again. Goes ahead and attacks again. Almost gets kill, but comes up just short. And of course gets a million self-heals right there, then and there. So at this point, the numbers are even. We got Akaya, Mariandel versus Liana and Ymir. Liana has just heal and 3C. Ymir has procced everything, but Ymir's just raw attack will just kill anything anyway. So I can get in range with Akaya, and I do have Spirit Tremble, which can target the lower of the two stats. Unfortunately, my troop choice was not the best option. Spider, Demon, Elves don't do very much besides debuffing, which doesn't really do anything to Ymir. It's also a demon class versus holy troops and holy unit, so it's definitely not the best option. We of course also have Mariandel here, who can probably get kill, I think. Also, the Radiant Shackles here also reduces all damage, so it's just bad times all around. So yeah, not the best troop choice. In hindsight, I should have used a different troop, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because of the troop choice that I came up short on the kill here. But it still nearly killed it, which is the good news. My opponent has already acted with Ymir, so all that's left is Liana. So I was 100% expecting Liana just to move up and do heal, because that will alone pretty much bring it back to full life. But there's also one other aspect about Akaya's 3C that I don't actually notice. Or at least I noticed, but I didn't realize the implication. So I see this self-res here, which I was assuming was his self-res, or the Redeemer self-res, but that's actually from his helmet. The Redeemer self-res is actually disabled right now, and it's all because of this totem. The totem that got placed because of the 3C is an aura. Like I mentioned last week, Ymir is immune to all debuffs, but if you can get some sort of aura effect, like this totem, it counts as a debuff, which will negate Redeemer's self-res. Also, you probably noticed that Liana, for some reason, decided to throw out her 3C instead of anything else. I don't know why. And yeah, I don't really know why. So it only does the talent heal, and that's it. So yeah, very much in kill range. Again, while I was doing this, I was not realizing that I had the win at this point. So the totem, by the way, does minus 10% attack and defense, and then at the start of each turn it does 2 random powerful debuffs, which of course don't do anything to Ymir. And then over here with Mariandel, I was like, alright, I can either do 3C, which might get kill on Ymir. Actually, it probably has a good chance of getting kill on Ymir. Or I can just use Windblade. And I was like, alright, I'll just use Windblade, get rid of one of his self-reses, and then pray that we pull through. Obviously, that's not really a concern, because Ymir doesn't have Redeemers active anymore. So I get the kill here. I get another Wolfie here. Everyone gets healed up. And all that's left is Liana. And there we go. That is our win. So yeah, very close match. I would say it was a fast match, but like I said, my opponent literally sat there for over 2 minutes after I killed back. But with that, that is the last match for the season. I could try to push further to see if I can get potentially to a higher rank. I'm actually, I mean, I'm pretty close to actually meeting the requirements to be in the finals, which will be pretty neat. But honestly, I don't really have the time for it. I've been really busy with work and health stuff. So honestly, this is good enough for me. We'll definitely get our season reward, which is great. We end with a 51% win rate, which is fantastic. If we had swapped over to this formation sooner, it might have gone a little bit better. Obviously, having Anya just as band bait is helping out quite a bit. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Akaya real quick. So yeah, Akaya's troop choices. So we have Spirit Demons, or Spider Demons, sorry, which don't actually have any stat increases, but they are kind of the strongest of the ranged units. As you can see, we don't really have much to pick from. We have like wizards, and that's kind of it. Everything else is actually melee. Akaya is kind of awkward because of how her classes work. If you're a mage class, of course she's ranged, but if you make her cavalry, she becomes melee. But even then, so yeah, in this situation, this was kind of the best ranged option. But 3C can actually make melee troops attack. So with that in mind, Steel Mains are probably a better option if you want to go Demon. Obviously, other issue with Akaya is she doesn't have any of that class disadvantage negation. So I'm for now going to be opting to do Giant Lizard Riders, which are cavalry, but they have all-terrain, so they don't actually hinder any of Akaya's limited movement. So I'm going to switch over to this, which of course has better attack stats and actually has attack buffs. So next time you go and attack with her, she'll hopefully do a little bit better. Besides that, there's not much else to say. Mariandel has been doing really well. The only characters I haven't really messed with yet is Patricia and Zelina. Everyone else I've at least played at some point. Maybe not this season, though. But yeah, this new box has been going really well. Obviously, the draw for this box, or this style of play, or this style of meta, is the fact that not only do you win fast, but you lose fast, and that's really important when you're doing the point grind. As much as I don't like relying on the meta as much, because I like doing tank push, I find that to be more entertaining, but this just simply works. And honestly, with the amount of casters we have, because of our own limitations of going female only, I think this plays out a lot better as far as giving us options. Polyol is probably the only one that's having the most trouble. And we'll go ahead and talk about what we did do. One other change. A commenter mentioned that actually the Covenant I was using was technically not the highest intelligence. It was in my case because they weren't not all my Covenants are built because I don't like grinding for the orbs. But Loki actually has the highest intelligence. So what I ended up doing is I actually reset. I believe you had like 2 free resets, and I used my second free reset to go ahead and reset Heimdall, which got me, of course, the spheres I needed to go ahead and get Loki all set up. The thing that makes Loki a lot better is the fact that the stuff around here on the edges, compared to Frigg, actually has a lot more intelligence available, and that was the big difference. Because yeah, there's like 60 plus points of intelligence right there, and for Frigg there's only a total of like 30. Yeah, only 30 here. So yeah, so Loki is actually the best as far as just raw intelligence and magic damage. So if we take a look here, 161 intelligence versus 116 from Frigg. The other difference, of course, with Loki is Loki even also has reduced attack, which at this point 6 points is not going to make that big of a difference. But it does affect things like, of course, Polyol and Namiya, who actually rely on physical damage, as well as Sword and Light and Shadow. So just something to be aware of. But we do have extra intelligence. Our magic defense and defense are lower, but we have much more raw intelligence, which is good. Also, I believe Loki also has enchants, which are also very useful. Blessings of the Dawn. So I do have this to get additional intelligence from here as well. The rest of this is generally not that big of a deal. For those who don't know, these buffs here do carry over to no matter what covenant you have active. So something to be aware of. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So yeah, that's the end of the season. Like I said, switching over to this new box has been working out for me. There are going to be a bunch of new characters coming out soon that will add more to the box. There's going to be like 2 more mages that we can potentially make use of. And then, yeah, there's even more stuff further beyond. Eventually, was it LLR Vargas is going to come out, though I'm not that concerned about him, though he does have some teleport act again AoE shenanigans, just like everyone does nowadays. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I am the Depressed. This is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 19, and I will see you guys next time.